Hello from wherever you are, and welcome to Let's Play Games. I'm John McFarland, Adult Services Librarian for National Public Libraries, and I hope you'll join me in learning or rediscovering some of the more common and uncommon games out there. This time, we're going to do a sequence of 3 games that all have their own connections. We'll start with 99, a basic addition game with some clever twists based on the cards. We'll move to Last Card, where we'll deal a certain amount of cards, and you'll be able to shed them with some twists involving the cards. Then we'll move to everyone's favorite proprietary numerical-based game, Uno, a shedding game with some fun twists based on the cards. Let's get stuck in. As promised, we're going to start with a basic addition game. As I always love doing on this series, I want to go over decks of cards real quick, just to show you what we're dealing with here, and also I always instruct how to shuffle. So a card deck here is this sequence of cards. These are known as pip cards. As you can see, they have different numericals up to 10. And then we have our court cards or face cards. That would be the Jack, the Queen, and the King. And these are in 4 separate suits. We have the spades here, the diamonds, the hearts, and the clubs. Now, often you will see jokers as a part of card decks. That's not going to be used in any of today's games unless you were dealing with one of the variants. So I'll put this off to the side. What I do also want to mention is the concept of ace low versus ace high. So the value of the ace can be determined based on whether it's at the bottom, representing a 1, or at the top, an ace high, where it is the highest rank. Now the fun for this game is actually it's going to take the place of both. So it will be the highest and the lowest card. I'll explain why a little bit later. So let's go ahead and get this ready to shuffle. What you want to do, if you're able, is just split it into 2 halves. It's called cutting the deck. And then I want you to hold right here, and your thumbs are going to be used right here. And you're just going to let go of these cards and let them kind of filter themselves. And this is one of those things that you can practice, and then once you get ready for it, you can just do it without even thinking. I like shuffling 7 times because at that point, you've got yourself a fairly shuffled deck. Now, if this is a little too difficult, which it can be sometimes, what you can also do is with your hand, just get rid of a couple cards, kind of make it in the middle. Just do a couple at a time, or even spread it all out and sort of shuffle it that way. So that is kind of an easier way to shuffle. Now, what I'm going to do is I actually have this right here. It's 2 decks in 1. And I'm sure you're wondering why I have 2 decks combined rather than just 1. Well, for this game, I'm going to be playing with 4 players. For 99, the goal is to avoid scoring above 99. This is a basic addition kind of game. So I brought in some tokens here. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to place these in stacks in the center. And then I am going to, over time, put, as we start scoring points, these tokens back in the stack. So that way you can see how this adds up. Usually, this will happen verbally, but this is one of those times that I want to really illustrate it. So for this, what we're going to do is I'm going to deal 5 cards to each player. As this is a Western style card game, we're going to deal clockwise. In Eastern style games, you actually typically deal counterclockwise, but we're going to do this. That's 1, and the dealer always gets last. That's 4. That's 4. 1 more round for everybody else. Now, what we are going to do is I'm going to put in the center here just right in front of the tokens. So our overhead camera will be helping us here. This is our just starting card. So that way we've got a discard pile. And I'm gonna go over once I can get things a little organized, and we'll go over each person's hands. Now what we're trying to do here is get as close as possible to 99 without going over. The person who goes over 99, by any total, it does not matter, they are going to get basically the equivalent of 1 strike. And it is much like the game of baseball, 3 strikes and you're out. So we're just gonna do this. So now we can kind of take a look at what everybody's got. So here's the way the points work. I do have an ace. That can be worth 1, or let me math this out here. 1, 2, 3, 11. And let me just kind of show it here. That is an ace, and that is something that has to be declared in advance as to what the total is. So that's one to keep in mind. The other important one is a 3. So it's worth its face value, 3. It also skips the next player's turn. One of those creative things to keep in mind. Like I said, there's always twists. A 4 is worth 4 tokens, and it reverses play. So notice there are 2 4s here, which means they can reverse the direction both ways in respective deals. The 9, here's a fun one. 9 is worth exactly 99. Considering the game is to go over 99, what it does is it instantly makes the score 99 regardless of what the score currently is. So the score could be 2, and somebody puts down 99. You think, oh, the next person's very much in trouble, right? That's where the twist comes in. Now we have this 10 over here. The 10 is a fun plus minus. It can either be an added 10 or a subtraction of 10. This is where the tension of this game goes in, because if somebody throws down a 9 and they can subtract a score, they're safe and the next person is the one in danger. The jack and the queen over here is worth 10 points on its own. The king is the last little special one. It's worth 0. So it can be almost treated like a pass. So we've got a couple of different ways to play this game. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to start just by playing this 2 here. We're gonna put this in the discard pile, and we're gonna take those 2 tokens. They will discard, and then they will get a card. So they got another one of the 4s. Since there's 2 decks in here, there's 8 total of each card. So a lot to work with here. This person decides they're gonna play, they'll play a safe-ish card here. They'll play 6. So that's 5 and 6. So you'll watch the pile slowly turn into another set. Here, the person's going to, you don't want to play this 10 if you can help it because of the subtraction. It's a card that you would like to keep together. So they'll play 7. So we'll get another 7 out of this pile. And this is how you know the game goes rather quickly, because play will be fairly quick about it. And you decide, okay, they're gonna play this jack, which means that would be 10. So that's 5. That is 10. So now we're part of the way there. They get a 4, so they get one of these reverses. So this person decides, well, since Jack's played, they didn't skip. They're gonna play one of these 4s. They got them, might as well use them. And now the play goes the other direction. This person actually could just make it go right back, but they're gonna play the 6. And see how the totals start really creeping up. Now you wanna consider what cards you have. And my apologies, I forgot to give them another card here. So sometimes it gets out of order. That's on me. 10 here, you're going to want to keep that on hold. So now that this person's played the 6, play moves over here. Play that queen. While there's still room, because if the queen is one of the higher cards you have, now you're running into a teensy bit of trouble. We're almost halfway there already in just a few short moments. Ace, nice draw there. They're going to also play a queen. That's 6. That's 10. Now it's starting to really creep up there. And this is the way that hands will, they've got some low card numbers, which is nice. This person here is going to play, what do they want to play? I think they'll play this 4 here. No reason why not. They'll kind of keep that 9 handy and ready to go. So play moves back here. They're going to play their 8 since they've got some low numbers that they can hold on to. That's 5. That's 8. Now is where people start being a little cautious. I think they've got a pass available, so they're going to call this ace into play. Oof, they've got some high numbers. So they're going to hold on to that king. They're going to say this is 11. That's 1, 5, 10. So 11. So now we've got around 20 left. What do they want to do next? I think they're going to play this 5, just for safety's sake. That's 2, and that's 3. Now we know from counting each of these as a stack of 20. So now we're down to 16. Play moves over here. I think now's the time that they play it. So they're going to make the score instantly 99. Oh, forgot to add one of these earlier. So now this person gets to draw. And after drawing the ire of the player across from us, can they play anything that will help? Well, since the score is already 99, and let me, just for dramatic sake, put this 1 out here, they have nothing they can play, which means they will have 1 loss. And that would be technically the end of a round. Now, what you can do here is you can continue and just say, okay, that's the end of that round. Play continues on with the next person starting, or you can shuffle up and make everybody redraw a hand. So, just as a refresher, the ace is 1 or 11. The 3 is 3 points and skips the next person. 4 reverses the direction. 9 is your instant 99 score. 10 is a plus or minus 10, so this person and this person would have been safe. The jack and the queen are worth 10, and the king is worth 0, almost like a pass turn. So this side would have been a bit more safe than this side. But this is a very quick, fast-paced, and high-counting game that can take not that long to set up, play, and have a lot of turnaround time in multiple rounds fairly quickly. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to shuffle things back up, and let's move on to last card, because this keeps a hand full the whole time. What about trying to get rid of cards? 1 second. I went ahead and redealt. We took the tokens away for now because this is all about shedding your cards as fast as possible. But there's always some fun twists. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn over this first card. So now we're going to deal with what's called a trump suit. This is the suit that you, quote, have to follow. From this, what you're going to do is you're going to have to play in relation to either the suit or the rank. So diamonds, clubs, hearts, spades. Trying to follow is going to be a key element here. But again, there's twists. There always has to be twists. So I'm going to call your attention first to the number 2. Number 2, when you play it, forces the opponent, your next player, to draw 2 cards. Unless they also have a 2. So then the next player will draw 4. If that person has a 2, they're going to draw 6 is the next one. And it can go all the way as long as someone can follow, but eventually someone is going to have to draw a fair amount of cards. The next number I want to point your attention to is the number 5. In this game, there's a draw 2 and a draw 5. That also can stack. Now, we're going to talk about the game Uno later and talk about the controversy around stacking. Some of them are called house rules. I say they stack, but alas, that's another topic. But we have the draw 5, the draw 2, and no one has a 10, but a 10 is a skip card. There's no reversing this time, but that is your skip player card. And then last, the ace, the wild card. It is at that point you get to actually call what suit you want next. So again, dealt, we're moving clockwise. So do they have a spade to play, or sorry, no, a diamond to play? Yes, they do. Ooh. This is another one of those forced games where you do have to play if you can draw. So they're gonna play this ace here. They don't have to draw anything. And they're gonna say that they wanna move to spades. Why? Well, take a look at their hand. 3 of their 4 remaining cards are spades. So you're trying to figure out a way to push as best as you can. Now this player does not have a spade. Even though that a diamond was left here, they said that the trump suit was now spades. So this person is going to be forced to draw. And they draw a heart. Now, depending on how you want to play the game, you can either draw 1 and play moves to the next person, or you can force them to draw until they have something to play. For simplicity's sake, most of the versions of Last Card I've seen just have you draw 1 and your turn skipped. I think it keeps the game moving a little faster, and it makes sure that no one falls super far behind. Same problem here, they don't have an ace. Now play moves over here. They do have a spade to play, so they're just gonna play it. And they're gonna play the queen. Now here is where things get interesting. They still don't have a spade, but they do have a queen. It's the same rank. So what they get to do is they get to play the queen, and the suit is now moved to spades, which is kind of helpful here, especially because they want to force a draw 2. Now, this player has to be able to play another 2, or else they're forced to draw. So alas, they are indeed forced to draw. And play will continue like this onward. They don't have a club, so they're gonna draw. That's their turn. This person has a 2, but they want to go ahead and just play that club. This person still has a club to work with, so they're gonna do that. There's a club here. Notice how the game moves fairly quickly when you just have these individual moments. And yes, what you can do, oh, I'm not gonna draw it because they have a 7 to play. And that moves play onwards. And what you can do is when you do draw, you can actually immediately place the card depending on what it is and as long as it matches. Is there a diamond here? Yes, another diamond. So notice the pace of the game. You just see me discarding cards and they all are matching by suit or rank. So now we're starting to get a little closer. Heart can be played. Now this person is going to play this and they're going to say last card. If they do not say last card as they place it, they will be forced and obliged to draw 2. Making sure I didn't skip over too much. Matter of fact, I totally did with this draw 5 here. So let me actually reverse back. See, you can find ways to always skip. You can stack, like I said, here. And this actually forces the person, so I didn't alter the game too hard. This person now has to draw 10 cards. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now the good news is they got a fair amount of good cards, but it also means they're going to be a teensy bit behind for, shall we say, a while, just because of how many cards they had to draw. So let me get these organized real quick. As I said, they're going to say last card. And this is why sometimes it's a little more complex. Notice there's a lot of cards they can play here, which now that this person's on last card, they're going to try and force their hand. Now, this person cannot play a heart, so they're gonna do that. They're gonna play this. So now we're on hearts. And here is the dangerous game. With all the cards they have, it's a good moment to look at some of the strategy. This person has one card. If it's the suit or card they need, it's over. Now, the good news is that they don't have a 6 of diamonds, so they're safe for now. I think what they're gonna do is, they'll do this 6 right here. This person will be obliged to draw. This person will be obliged to draw. This person's going to say last card. Now the dynamic changes, especially as people get into the end game. And they are going to say that the suit is spades. Well, kind of gives away what the last card is, but at least they're gonna force this person to draw 2 unless they can combine. As a matter of fact, they can while saying last card. This person now has to draw. Well, good news and bad news. Good news, the suit changed, so they're like, oh, it's fine. They said spades. Well, a 2 was the last card they had. The dealer is now out. So this rotation of the game is just the draw 5s, the draw 2s, the deuce stack, and then the 10 that is your skip card, and then the ace that is the wild. This is another fast-paced game that teaches the little skill jumps that you can do for making a simple deck of cards work into a more popular proprietary game. 1 second, let me reset, and then let's talk about Uno, shall we? We're gonna move on to Uno, where we deal less with the suit, and now we've got colors, making it a little easier. Now, like any good Uno deck, some cards are missing, lost over time, but I'm gonna go over what is traditionally in an Uno deck. So we've got our 0, 1s, we got 2 missing, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 6s. This will typically happen over the course of the life set of an Uno deck, that some cards are going to go missing, but we're going to roll with it how we can. So we also have, much like we had the cards that you had to remember what they were, this time it's just symbols. So we have our skip, we have our reverse, and we have our draw 2, which according to the official rules do not stack. I'm gonna say we're not about that life. So what's going on here is, notice the rule set that was in both 99 and last card. It's the same principle, but now we are throwing in this layer that kind of simplifies it. Now, what we also have here, the wild cards make their return in a slightly different ways rather than being the aces. So we have these, what I'm just gonna call regular wilds. This is your way of changing the rank or the suit. I'm gonna use the same terminology that we would use for card decks. We also have these blank ones that's been more common with the modern Unos, but one specifically is usually swap hands. This can be used fairly strategically. And everyone's favorite nemesis, the draw 4. This is not only am I changing the suit, but the next player has to draw 4. we're gonna make those stackable too, just because there's only 4 of these in the stack. Now, same principle about shuffling. Now, obviously, you know in advance there's some cards that are missing, but alas, this is kind of the way that it sometimes works. But it's the same principle as any other card game. You want to make sure that you properly shuffle. As you can tell, I had everything in order, so I really want to shuffle well here. So give me 1 second. I'm going to shuffle. This might take a moment, and then deal a hand. Whoop! These cards are a little on the older side, so this might take a second. 1 moment. I went ahead and dealt, and we're starting off again, rank and suit. We've got a green 9, which means that you either have to play off of the greens or the 9s, or have a wild in your hand. So let's look at the player to my left. They've got some greens. Hey, this works. Now with Uno, technically, to my understanding, you don't have the forced play. It's highly suggested that you do. Why wouldn't you want to remove the number of cards that are in your hand? But your choice, I suppose. So here we've got a blue 9, we've got a 2, we've got a reverse that are in green. So now is when you start making the decision as to what to play. So they're going to hit this 2. Play moves on, and we have a draw 2 card that we really kind of have to use from the get-go. We could have changed it to yellow, but I don't know if I want to do that. So they draw 2, their turn's over, play moves here. Now is when things start getting dicey because they have the skip. They're going to go ahead and use it. This person doesn't have a card to play. They're going to say yellow. So this is another fast-paced game. You don't really have to think too hard about the way that you're doing things, just trying to shed in a more efficient way. But hey, we've moved to yellow, which means that they can play this 5 here. High or low card doesn't really matter for this game. It's just a matter of shedding cards as fast as possible. Notice how this game can really move quickly. They're going to use this draw 4 here. This person is going to make a habit of drawing cards, it would seem. 7, 8, and then our first red. The reds are kind of deep down in there. And they're going to say green. This person can't play. Gets another of the draw 4s. So this person, they're getting some luck here with the wilds. I promise you, I did shuffle. But hey, that means that they're going to have a lot of opportunities to pick the color that they want. And this is where kind of the mystery of the game comes in. Now, they're going to say yellow. This person gets the other draw 4. Love it. 2, 3. I promise you, I shuffled multiple times before we started. But hey, they've got more than enough cards to play with. This person's going to say green. They can't play. Eventually, we did have to get to that lovely moment where you have to see the cavalcade of drawing. They're going to organize their hand here. Again, a more chaotic-based game. They're going to do the skip, because why not? They'll do this reverse here. This person will say Uno. And it's kind of a smarter draw because if you know that a reverse has been played, there's fewer and fewer reverses available, which means that getting something off the same rank is not going to be as beneficial to you. This person's going to play an 8. They'll be able to play off this 8. They'll be able to play off this 8 because it's advantageous to them to do so. However, oh dear, I'm out. And yes, much like last card, you have to declare Uno. Somebody calls you on it, you have to draw 2. So this is a fairly quick sequence of games and shows you just a little bit about the development of games and how they look from a quick children's game involving some addition, a game involving some twists that's a more shedding style game, and how it can be popularized and made into its own form. So you can actually technically play Uno if you wanted to, with just a standard deck of cards. Most games have a pretty good adaptation or ancestor that is specifically and explicitly involved in these decks of cards. That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in. Join us next time as we cover yet another game where we're going to need some clubs and some swings. See you next time.